It's time for some Revs roses, baby. I've got to give out some roses to some well-deserved players who helped these Bills cruise to victory last week. But number one, off the rip, it's James Cook, man. Right? I mean, this brother, like I mentioned, he just took over the game. He took over the game. 25 carries, 179 yards on the ground, 1 rushing touchdown, averaged 7.2 yards per carry. And then on the receiving end, 2 receptions for 42 yards and a receiving touchdown. James Cook just took over the show and took over the game. And not only did he do that, but James Cook was awarded the AFC Player of the Week because of his performance. So shout out to James Cook. James Cook, if you're watching, my brother, will you accept this rose? Number two, Revs rose goes out, and we're staying on offense, baby. It goes out to my brother, Dion Dawkins, the snowman. The snowman. You already should know, baby. You know what I'm saying? Dion Dawkins, Kim Betts is already on it. Kim Betts, the snowman. Y'all with me? Dion Dawkins. I mean, and really the entire offensive line. I mean, G716 says, the entire offensive line. I agree. But, I've got to go with Dion Dawkins, the snowman, because you guys saw that clip, right? You guys saw that. That moment where Dion Dawkins was blocking his defender 20 yards down the field and put him in the dirt. Like, that's what you want to see from your Pro Bowl caliber left tackle. He's a leader of the offensive line, and you want to see that guy because when he does that, that fires up the entire offensive line. When you've got a guy like that running, blocking his guy 20 yards down the field. Dion Dawkins, fantastic performance last week against the Cowboys. Dion Dawkins, my brother, will you accept this rose? Now, flipping over to the defensive side of the ball. I have to give a shout out to this brother right here because I talked about him last week. It's from one of my matchups. I said, man, look, this brother is going to be matched up against CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee Lamb is on a tear right now. They've been running him outside and in the slot. And when he gets matched up on the slot, this brother right here is going to have one heck of a game because CeeDee Lamb is that dude. He's him. But to my surprise, because I was like, he's kind of sus in coverage at times, but he was up for the challenge. And my man, Taron Johnson, had himself a game on CeeDee Lamb. I bet you would have never guessed. CeeDee Lamb, 7 receptions, 53 yards. That's it. Taron Johnson put that brother on lock. Clamped him up against one of the premier wide receivers in the National Football League. So Taron Johnson, shout out to you, my brother. Will you accept this rose? This last rose goes to a guy who has been under fire for the past few weeks now. Maybe it's controversial. Every single thing this brother does has been dissected with a fine-tooth comb. And in spite of all of the adversity and the talk and the smear campaigns, this man right here has continued to lead this team and been very steadfast in his approach. And I have to give a shout out and a Revs rose to the one who is leading this franchise. That is none other than head coach Sean McDermott. Head coach Sean McDermott, ladies and gentlemen. I know it. Look, I was on record as to say that, I did not have any faith in Sean McDermott going forward to lead this team over the hump to the Super Bowl. I felt I was questioning some of his in-game decisions. And then most importantly, I did not like, at the time, Well, I did not believe that Sean McDermott had what it took to make the switch at offensive coordinator, to get rid of Ken Dorsey and promote Joe Brady. All of this was at the conclusion of the Broncos game. I was like, yo, man, look, I don't have faith in this guy. And I don't think that he's willing to remove him. I mean, to get rid of Dorsey. I just didn't believe it. I did not believe it. We saw how long it took him to move on from Leslie Frazier, right? I mean, I was adamant at the conclusion of last year, when the Bengals game was over in the playoffs, and the Bills got humiliated. I did not like Dorsey. I was like, yeah, he needs to go. But a lot of people were like, no, give him another year. That was his first year. McDermott was like, yo, that's his first year. We're gonna be with him, all that kind of stuff. I was like, man, he's just not gonna get rid of him. He's not gonna do it. And lo and behold, I mean, it took him long enough, but he finally did it. And that shocked me because I didn't think he was gonna do it. Maybe it's because his seat was hot. Maybe he felt that the heat turning up on his own seat. And he's like, I gotta make a move because if we miss the playoffs, my job is on the line. So whatever's the motivating factor for Sean McDermott, I'm glad he did it. But nevertheless, he has been so incredibly steady amidst everything that's been going on. And he led his team to probably one of the best wins for this team of the season. The Cowboys were red hot. I think they're on a 5-game win streak. We heard talks of Dak Prescott MVP. Cowboys could be, the Super Bowls and all, all that kind of stuff. I mean, this was a team that was on fire, leading the league, I think, in points scored. I think they had they were just killing the game. Sean McDermott went out as a defensive coordinator, calling the defense, and shut these boys out. If not for a garbage time touchdown, these boys would have only had 3 points. Bills would have beat them 31-3. 31-3. Dak Prescott finished the game 21-34 for 134 yards in the air, 1 interception. Tony Pollard on the ground, 11 for 52, no touchdowns. Receiving, we talked about it. CeeDee Lamb, 7 for 53, no touchdowns. Jake Ferguson, 6 for 44, no touchdowns. Brandon Cooks, 2 for 10, no touchdowns. Michael Gallup, 1 for 9, no touchdowns. They were shut out the entire game. They scored that field goal in the second quarter, and they did not score again until late in the fourth quarter. Shout out to Sean McDermott, man. Sean McDermott coached himself a fantastic game. And Sean McDermott, will you accept this roast?
We got your back. Yeah.